Welcome to Mastering Life's Adventures, an educational podcast about tapping into your true self, the soul, the substance of your life, to discover what life's ups and downs are really about, and how to have a greater sense of purpose, peace, joy, and fulfillment. I am Dr. Judith Holder, your host, coach, psychologist, fellow seeker who enjoys diving into the connections between spirituality, psychology, wellness, and your everyday life's adventures. All preparing and polishing you like the facets of a magnificent diamond to be your best self. If you're craving more from your life, you are in the right place. Come, let's journey together and transforming what you know into who you really are. Mastering Life's Adventures begins now.
Sometimes a relationship looks peaceful because one person has gone into exile, this inner exile. There is no screaming, no obvious betrayal, no dramatic breakdown. From the outside, everything may look steady. People may even say, "You two seem fine." But inside, a woman knows she has been leaving parts of herself outside the relationship, so the relationship can remain calm. She still loves the person, values the marriage, the friendship, the family ties, and the long history. The issue is not always that love has disappeared. Sometimes the deeper issue is that the role she has been playing no longer has room for her soul. This is why the relationship is not always, is this relationship over? Sometimes the more honest question is, what role have I been playing so this relationship would not have to change? And when that question rises in midlife, it can feel frightening. Because if the role ends, the relationship may have to become more truthful. And truth changes things. I'm back with another key to soul progress. And that is recognizing when the relationship may not be over, but the old role is. This is not an episode about careless walking away from people, nor about blaming someone else because you feel restless, nor about deciding that your growth makes you superior to another person. This is about spiritual discernment, and it's so vitally important in relationships. This is why I will continue to talk about discernment from different angles, because it allows you to think about, what does it mean in this relationship, in this situation, or this circumstance? So spiritual discernment is about seeing the role we're talking about today may be shifting or changing, and we're not identifying that. So we're seeing the role you have been playing and asking whether the role is still aligned with God, truth, and the soul you are becoming. In many sacred traditions and teachings, they often speak of cycles, things having a season to. Even Jesus said things have their seasons. Some places have 4 seasons, some have 2, some they only have 1, but there are seasons that happen. It is about seeing the role you have been playing and asking whether the role is still aligned with God, truth, and the soul you are becoming. In the sacred wisdom teachings that have come down through the ages, they often speak of cycles. Every soul moves through cycles. Relationships move through cycles too. A role that helped a relationship survive one season may quietly begin to restrict the soul in another season. What once kept the peace may later prevent truth. What once felt loving may later become spiritually constricting. And today we are following two women. Dana, a 38-year-old, and she is beginning to see how often she becomes the agreeable one in her family and close relationships. And then Monica is in her 50s, and she is realizing that being the strong, steady one in her marriage has cost her more than she admits. And we will use a simple acronym, ROLE. The R is for recognize the role. The O is own what is yours. The L is listen for divine direction. The E is express the truth cleanly. The relationship may continue, but the role that kept you spiritually small may need to end. Most of us do not realize we are playing a role while we are playing it. We think we are just being helpful, kind, loyal, patient, practical, or mature. The role often begins innocently. A young woman learns that if she is easygoing, people like her. And if she does not complain, the house feels calmer. If she understands everyone else, she avoids conflict. If she stays strong, people depend on her. And if she does not ask for much, she's praised for being gracious. Over time, the role becomes familiar. Then it becomes expected. And then it becomes invisible. The problem is not that the role was always wrong. Sometimes a role develops because it is needed for a season. Maybe it helped a family survive stress. Maybe it helped a marriage stabilize. Maybe it helped a woman manage children, career, aging parents, and other people's emotions. But a role is like scaffolding around a building. It can be useful while something is being built or repaired, but scaffolding is not meant to become the house. If it stays too long, it blocks the windows and keeps light from entering. Some women have lived so long inside a role that they do not know where the role ends and their true self begins. That is when the soul begins to stir. The stirring may not come as a dramatic revelation. It may come as quiet fatigue, resentment, the longing for honest communication, the grief you cannot explain, and the feeling that your outer life still functions, but your inner life is undernourished. This is not always a sign that the relationship has failed. Sometimes it's a sign that the soul is asking for a new agreement. Dana was 38 years old. She was the youngest daughter in a close family, and everyone described her as easy to be around. She was warm, helpful, quick to smooth tension. If her mother was upset, Dana softened her tone. If the older sister was demanding, Dana made room. If her partner had a stressful day, Dana swallowed what she had planned to say and became supportive instead. People often told her, "You are so understanding." For years, Dana thought that was love. She believed love meant being flexible. Love meant not making things harder. It meant reading the room before you speak. It meant sensing what others could tolerate and adjusting accordingly. But as Dana moved closer to 40, something began to shift. She noticed that after family dinners, she felt exhausted because she had been monitoring everyone. She had been watching her mother's mood, her sister's tone, her partner's comfort, and her own words. One Sunday afternoon, the family was planning a vacation. Everyone had strong opinions. Dana wanted a quiet mountain retreat, but her sister wanted a busy beach trip. Her mother wanted everyone together, and her partner said, "Whatever makes your family happy." Dana smiled and said, "That sounds fine." But it was not fine. On the drive home, her partner asked, "Are you okay?" Dana said, "I'm just tired." But inside, she knew it was more than tired. She felt like she had watched herself leave the room. That evening, she sat at the kitchen table with a cup of tea. She barely touched. The house was quiet. Her phone kept lighting up with family messages about the vacation. Dana looked at the screen and felt a wave of sadness. She whispered, I do not even know what I want anymore until everyone else is done wanting." That sentence startled her. It was recognition. Dana began to see that her role as the agreeable one had protected her from conflict, but it had trained her to distrust her own inner knowing. Her soul had been speaking, but she had been waiting for permission. In prayer, Dana began asking a different question. Not, how do I keep everyone happy? But, God, Lord, what is true in me before I adjust it for others? And that was the beginning of her lesson. Dana's lesson was this: peace is not the same as alignment. A room can be quiet because truth is present. A room can also be quiet because someone has decided not to speak. For years, Dana had mistaken reduced conflict for peace. She thought that if no one was upset, the relationship was healthy. But the absence of conflict is not always harmony. Sometimes it is only the result of one person carrying all the discomfort internally. This is where the first part of role matters. R. Recognize the role. Dana had to realize that the agreeable one was not her whole identity. It was a survival pattern. It was a way of belonging. It was a way of avoiding the risk of disappointing others. The spiritual concept here is inner authority. The soul must learn to stand before God before it stands before the group. If Dana could not hear what was true in her own heart, she would keep bowing. She would keep borrowing direction from other people's preferences. She did not need to become harsh, nor to reject her family. She did not need to announce, "I'm done pleasing everyone." That would have been a reaction. Her first act of soul progress was quieter. She wrote in her journal, "Before I answer, I will ask myself, what is true?" That sentence became a spiritual practice. The next time the vacation topic came up, Dana did not give a speech. She simply said, "I realize I said the beach was fine, but I need to be honest. I was trying not to complicate things. I would actually prefer something quieter this year." The room got uncomfortable. Her sister sighed. Her mother looked surprised. Dana felt the old urge to retreat, but she stayed present. That was progress. The relationship was not over. The family was not over. Her kindness was not over. But the role of the automatic agreeable one had begun to end. She had been married to David for 26 years. They had built a stable life together, and from the outside, Monica looked blessed. She had a responsible husband, adult children, doing well enough, a home that felt welcoming, and a reputation for being capable. If something had to be organized, Monica handled it. If a family member was upset, Monica listened. If there was a crisis, people called her. David loved her, but he had grown used to her strength. He assumed she could handle things. He assumed she would speak up if something was wrong. He assumed that because she kept moving, she was fine. But Monica was not fine. She was tired. She did not want to be rescued. She did not want to be dramatic. She did not want to make David wrong, but she wanted to stop being treated as if her strength meant she had no needs. And one evening, David came home and began talking about a problem at work. Monica listened. She asked questions. She encouraged him. She helped him think through what to say to his supervisor. After about 40 minutes, he said, "Thanks, I feel better." Then he got up to watch television. Monica sat there in silence. She had not told him about her own day. She had not told him that she had felt anxious at work, that she was worried about her aging father, or that she had been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a heaviness in her chest. She had done what she always did. She had become the container. Later that night, Monica looked in the bathroom mirror and said quietly, "When did being strong become the same as being alone?" That question pierced her. She began to see that the role of a strong one had once helped her. It had helped her survive childhood uncertainty. It had helped her succeed professionally. It had helped her manage family life. But now, it had become a spiritual barrier. Monica realized that David did not fully know how much she cared because she had trained him to believe she did not need much caring. That was hard for her to admit. It would have been easier to blame him completely. But spiritually, maturity requires more honesty. Her soul was not only asking, "Why doesn't he see me?" Her soul was also asking, "Where have I hidden behind competency? Where have I hidden behind competency?" The question became her doorway. Monica's lesson was this: strength without truth becomes a wall. Strength is beautiful when it serves love, wisdom, and right action. But strength becomes distorted when it prevents receiving, vulnerability, and honest connection. This is where the second part of role matters. The O, own what is yours. Monica had to own that she had participated in the pattern. This does not mean she caused everything. It does not mean David had no responsibility. It means she was willing to see her part without shame. Owning what is yours is not self-blame. It is spiritual power. And when you own your own part, you stop waiting for someone else to magically understand the truth you have been hiding. You stop making another person responsible for reading the signals you have disguised. You stop confusing endurance with holiness. In prayer, Monica began to ask, God, help me to tell the truth before it turns into resentment. Lord, help me to be wise and discerning, perceptive of what I do need to say in this particular situation or conversation. That prayer matters because truth spoken too late often comes out sharpened. Truth spoken with God can become clear without becoming cruel. A few days later, Monica asked David to take a walk with her. She knew if she brought it up in the kitchen, she would minimize it. So she chose a setting where she could stay present. She said, as they were walking, I need to tell you something that is hard for me to say. I know I often seem like I can handle everything, but I have been feeling alone in the amount I carry. I do not want to keep being strong in a way that keeps me unknown. And David was quiet. He did not immediately know what to say. Monica felt exposed. The old role wanted to rescue him from discomfort. She wanted to say, it's okay, never mind. But she did not. She let the truth breathe. That was sacred. The relationship was not over, but the old agreement had been interrupted. Monica was no longer willing to be admired for strength while starving for tenderness. This is soul progress. Releasing the old role can feel like betrayal because the role often helped you belong. Dana's agreeable role helped her feel accepted. Monica's strong role helped her feel valuable. Another woman may have the role of the rescuer, the fixer, the quieter one, the spiritual one, the dependable one, or the one who never needs help. These roles can become emotional currency. They use them to stay connected. When we give people the version of us they know how to love, and in return, we receive belonging, approval, or reduced conflict. But the soul begins to ask, is this belonging costing too much? The question is uncomfortable because the answer may require change. The people around you may not celebrate your growth at first. They may prefer the version of you that kept the old system running. That does not make them bad. It makes them human. It makes them wanting to move back to what's familiar. So when a familiar role changes, everyone has to adjust. And if you stop overfunctioning, someone else may have to participate more. If you stop saying yes automatically, someone else may feel disappointed. And if you stop being the emotional container, someone else may have to learn how to hold their own discomfort. This is why divine direction must be stronger than people's reactions. The third part of role is listen for divine direction. Divine direction is not the loud panic of the moment. It is not the ego saying, I am done with all of you. It is not resentment dressed up in spiritual language. Divine direction is often steady, persistent, and quietly courageous. It may say, speak. It may say, pause. It may say, stop rescuing. It may say, tell the truth first. It may say, this pattern is complete. It may say, love them, but stop performing the role. The soul must learn to listen beneath the fear, the guilt, the habit. And some of this is the personality needs to quiet down, needs to step aside, needs to be humble so that the soul is listening, learning to listen to what is beneath the fear, the guilt, the habit. There is an important distinction here. Ending a role is not the same as rejecting a person. When Dana stopped being automatically agreeable, she was rejecting the old pattern that required her to disappear into everyone else's preferences. When Monica stopped being endlessly strong, she was rejecting the agreement that her needs should remain invisible because she seemed capable. This distinction protects the heart from becoming harsh. Spiritual growth does not require contempt. You do not have to make someone a villain in order to change. You do not have to exaggerate their flaws in order to justify your truth. A cleaner statement is this: the way I have been participating no longer aligns with who God is calling me to become. That sentence keeps the focus where it belongs. In the sacred wisdom teachings, divine love is not possession. Divine love does not require ownership, control, or emotional captivity. It allows growth, truth, and right relationship. It seeks harmony, but not false harmony. It seeks peace, but not peace built on silence. Think of a plant that has outgrown its pot. The pot was not bad. It held the roots for a season. It gave structure. But if the plant keeps growing and the pot never changes, the roots begin to circle themselves. The plant may still be alive, but it cannot fully thrive because the role is the pot. It held you for a season. It helped you survive. It gave you belonging, but now the soul needs more room for truth. That is not failure, it is growth. That is the path of being on a spiritual path, a climb up the mountain to higher awareness. The final part of role is express the truth cleanly. This is often the hardest part because many women wait so long to speak that by the time they finally do, the truth is mixed with exhaustion and resentment. And we have to realize as we move in our midlife, moving forward, there have been many times maybe we have not been able to express the truth cleanly. And that season of our life is moving us forward with trying to do that. Our soul is moving us forward with trying to have clean truth that does not attack, does not diagnose the other person. It does not say you never or you always or you are the reason I'm unhappy. Clean truth speaks from inner authority. Dana's clean truth sounded like, I want to be honest. I said yes too quickly because I was trying not to disappoint anyone. I need to speak for what I actually want. Monica's clean truth sounded like, I know I often seem strong, but I have been feeling alone in what I carry. I do not want to keep hiding my needs behind competency. So clean truth is not weak. It is spiritually disciplined. It gives the other person information they can respond to. It does not guarantee they will respond well. That part is not fully in your control, but it keeps your soul clear. This is where right speech becomes a spiritual practice. And right speech asks, is this true? Is it necessary? Is this the right time? Can I say it without trying to punish? Can I speak it with courage and compassion at the same time? Right speech is allowing you to think intentionally and consciously about the other person and how they best like to receive information in the relationship. And trying to align with your own inner prayer to God and your prompting by God is trying to move you forward. Now, this is not easy, but it is certainly powerful. Many relationships never mature because the truth is buried or weaponized. Buried truth becomes distance. Weaponized truth becomes damage. Clean truth becomes a doorway. And that doorway may lead to repair, new boundaries, grief, or different form of the relationship. But it leads somewhere real. And the soul needs what is real, what is true, what is honorable. So for Dana, the question is not simply, do I still love them? Many times the question is, yes. The deeper question is, what role have I been playing in order to keep the relationship familiar? Have you been the agreeable one, the strong one, the fixer, the quiet one, the one who spiritually understands everyone but rarely asks to be understood, the one who keeps the peace by keeping your own truth small? And what is that role costing your soul, which is the substance of your life? This is not a question to answer in a rush. It deserves prayer, reflection, and humility. Use role as a simple practice. Recognize the role, name it clearly without shaming yourself or anyone else. Say, I have been playing the strong one, or I have been playing the agreeable one, or I have been playing the rescuer. Oh, what is yours? Ask, how have I participated in this pattern? What is mine to change? Listen for divine direction. Ask God, what is the next right step? Is it a conversation, a boundary, a pause, a new way of showing up? Express the truth cleanly. Speak without attacking. Speak without disappearing. Speak without using truth as a weapon. This is how the role begins to end without destroying the heart. The relationship may continue. It may change. It may require deeper work. It may reveal what both people are willing or unwilling to face. But whatever happens, you will no longer be relating from inner exile. You will be returning to truth. Today, I want you to sit with one question. What role in your life may be complete. Not because you no longer love, not because the relationship means nothing, and not because the past was false, but because your soul can no longer live inside an agreement that requires you to be less truthful than God is calling you to be. You can begin with a simple prayer. God, Lord Jesus, help me recognize the role I have been playing. Help me own what is mine without shame. Help me listen for your direction. Help me express truth with courage, compassion, and wisdom. Because sometimes the relationship is not over, but the role is. Something to think about. Bye for now. And you can find my podcast episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and at drjudithmla.com.
Thank you for joining me for this episode on Mastering Life's Adventures, being your best self through soul evolution. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, I would be delighted if you would share this episode with others, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe to my Mastering Life's Adventures podcast. Look forward to your joining the next episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you might have below. Bye for now.